Ankle pickers, welcome back. We've got another edition of our quasi-live pay-per-view mornings. It's fight night today. UFC 272, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal headlining.
There will be bad blood.
There is bad blood.
Yeah, I mean, so they claim.
Breakfast beers are rolling.
I don't know. I'm really interested tonight, more than anything, finding out how a bill becomes a law.
You know what? It sounds like Colby wants to tell us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Jorge might not know.
I mean, I think that, not to go off on a tangent, but it would be an all-time moment if he, stouches Jorge and then cuts the awesomest promo of, a bill becomes a law.
Well, I
don't want to hear that at all.
That would be hilarious.
I've done these in sport or schoolyard where someone says something like that and you flip the script on them. If I was Jorge, I would be like, I don't know, Colby, how does it? And he might not know, honestly. I can see him not know.
All
He's
right.
going all in. Oh man.
We are in Vegas tonight for 272, as mentioned. We already got a lot of action on this card. I know the past few weeks we've been a little bit slimmer with the plays, but I'm looking at Danny's card right now. We're all looking forward already and just excited to get you some action. Thanks for tuning in, first of all. This is our quasi-live. We're kind of recording this an hour early just because of technical difficulties, but we're here live as we can be. Same structure as we've been through for our live mornings on pay-per-view mornings. We're going to run through the card a little bit quicker than we kind of normally do in the longer episodes. We're going to rapid fire our way through once again with just our plays, finalize our cards, and then we're going to talk through our ankle lock for the game that we're playing for the first half of the year that we're doing pretty damn good in. What is our ankle lock? 5-1 up 19.5 units, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a slow day, yeah.
All right, let's jump right in. Let's not waste any time. We only got 30 minutes on the clock. We're already 2 in.
Oh, wait, I have one thing. And this is live.
We have trouble, please. The suspense is killing me.
Big.
Dead air.
Here comes the 1 of 1 Renato Moicano, about to be worth $0. But this gives me a good time to talk about. Let's see. Fuck, I don't even think there's anyone on this card that has their own NFC or UFC stripe. I was about to make a Terrence McKinney comment about either sell them now or sell them later. Make your
sounds like we do do some Terrence McKinney's against.
We do. Oh, right. You're never gonna believe it. So my girlfriend actually misplaced them, and I ran. She's like, "Oh, it's on a good tail." Another thing, it's actually under the desk I'm using right now, so I had it the whole time. Here's a little surprise for the ankle pickers. I went out the other day, and we are looking to our first ever ankle pick giveaway. We're probably going to run it on our Twitter, but I got a brand new sealed box of Prism UFC, and it's the debut edition, 24 packs. So I'm thinking we're going to give away either a couple packs at a time, or we'll figure it out live, kind of like this. We're just going to figure it all out. But we're going to give away all 24 of these packs, throughout the year, throughout the month, or however we want to do it. But just follow those accounts, stay along for the ride, and we'll ship these out to you guys.
Got some stuff coming out to the listeners. We like to hear that. All right, now let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into the early prelims. It's time.
Hold on a second. You say let's not waste any more time. Who's wasting time? I'm giving out this breaking news.
Breaking news. Breaking boxes. Breaking news.
It's breaking.
Curtain jerker. Dustin Jacoby and Michael Alexiachuk both weighed in right at 205 limit. I think 205 and a half and 206 respectively. But we talked about on the pod, Jacoby is going to have a little bit of size advantage in the length. Danny's already placed Jacoby.
Yup.
How early in the week were you? Where's it at now?
I think I was at Wednesday at minus 180, and Reese was saying it's steamed a little bit, but I think you can still grab it around minus 180. I'm seeing it at DraftKings still right there. So mine is still available on DraftKings and PointsBet.
Shop those lines, ladies and gentlemen. It's important. Dan, I'm also on this one, and the thing that's gonna make it official, I'm gonna do to win a unit, and the thing that's so about risk two, the thing that's gonna make it official is did you see the weigh-in last night? I mean, I know
Ceremonial or just on the scale?
it didn't really matter at any point. Not really on the scale, more when they squared off and stuff. The size difference is just too much. I think Michelle's going to find a spot in his career where he realizes that 205 is not his home, 85 is. Because his frame is meant for 85, and he just chooses to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he walks around close to 205. So I think the size is going to be the difference, and the matchup is just kind of tailor-made for Jacoby here. So
we're talking about this one for potential ankle lock. Another one that is a potential ankle lock is the next early prelim fight. Devonta Smith and Ludovic Klein. Devonta Smith you can get minus 142 right now in shopping lines.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Dan, I have soured on this one a little bit, and what's really same thing as the Justin Jacoby's. I saw them, and I looked at Ludovic. I mean, he fights at 45, but it's really underrated how much weight he cuts to get at 45. He looked good at 55, and him and Devonta Smith look about the same size. I didn't see as big of a size advantage as I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't something that we really keyed in on so much in the episode, though. I just think that Smith is going to be able to work behind his jab and bounce back after that Malarkey decision.
His jab is just such a beatdown. His jab is just such a work of art. For those watching today, so I'm assuming everybody, just watch how Devonta Smith sticks behind that jab, and he also is one of the rare guys, Kobe, who can double pump it out. It's like he'll throw it out, and he'll follow it up another couple times, which a lot of guys don't do. It's so quick. It was watching tape this week on Devonta Smith was an absolute joy. I had so much fun.
Tagir Ulanbekov is a minus 210 favorite over Tim Elliott. On the pod earlier in the week, Danny kind of favored the gas tank of Elliott, and Reese teased the over 2.5. But Reese also liked Elliott straight at about 200. Where are we at now?
You're on it. I am on Elliott straight. I got 195, and I'm happy about it. I mean, I know if you really look right now, you can get it 200 at a couple places, but I think that Tim Elliott has a real shot to win this one, and I think it would also not really here. I think it would almost be beneficial for Tagir to lose to a veteran like Elliott and learn. I mean, he came in at minus 500 in both of his UFC appearances, and they both were significantly close. Nascimento, honestly, a good sport for him either way. It was phenomenal in the scrambles. But I think it's going to, at the very least, be a very, very, very closely contested contest, and you're going to have value at that 200. At the very least, I wouldn't be surprised. It could be a split decision to Tagir for sure, but it's going to be a fucking nail biter of a fight.
Yeah, I don't disagree, especially when you've got guys where you know Tagir's going to go and try and wrestle Tim Elliott for 15 minutes, and we know Tim Elliott can fight off his back and defend takedowns and scramble for 15 minutes and do it well. I think it's a great value pick. I am leaning more towards just the over, and that's kind of where I'm going to be.
Yeah, so 2 plays on that guy. That is all.
The last early prelim, Umar Nurmagomedov and Brian Kelleher. Umar is a huge favorite. We're looking at about minus 800 is the best you can find. But we did find a spot that we could potentially play this fight more than just in a parlay on the pod. It was Umar inside the distance, got a plus in front of it, about plus 140 is the best I could find this morning.
Yeah, it's come down just a little bit. It was plus 150 earlier in the week, but still a ton of value there. Reese and I talked about it. Umar is different than you would expect if you're following the Nurmagomedov family and these Dagestani wrestlers. Kid can kickbox. Kid, that spinning body kick, that spinning back kick that he'll throw is awesome, and it is tight and it's accurate. Man can hurt Brian here. I think that's definitely going to happen.
And if you are a little nervous, like let's say your book only has Nurmagomedov to win to the distance at like plus 120, or I even see minus 105. I was thinking that the fight doesn't go to decision is also an interesting way to play this, because not that I think Kelleher's going to win. I obviously do not, but he loves to latch on to that guillotine, and that can happen to anyone. You saw it happen to
Great guillotine.
You saw it happen to Volkanovski in his title fight. I mean, he got out of it, but it was damn close. I mean, anyone can just slip up. And the other thing is there's always that puncher's chance idea. So if you have similar lines there, you could even not even have a dog in this fight and just have that it ends in the distance, which is not that much of a difference. So that's also a route to go. But Dan, that's a surprise that you get it's rare to get a minus 900 who has finishing capabilities and does get finishes. B plus to finish. That
Right.
was interesting to me. I was shocked.
Moving from the early prelims to the prelims, we have Maria Agapova, minus 170 favorite over Marina Moroz. This is the first fight on the card where there's some former training partners, bad blood involved. Does it come down to MMA science? On the pod, Reese was more interested than Danny was, but Reese, go ahead.
So I'm still interested, and it's official. I am going to play Marina Moroz, and I missed the boat though. I didn't realize that this would be a line that would have some steam. I wanted it at 170, and even as high as I believe plus 180 all week, and someone hit it because this line is smashed down to like the 145, 150 range. So I'm losing a little bit of value, but it does make me feel good because a lot of people are seeing what I see. I think there's a great spot for Moroz. I think that the type of matchup she brings to the table with that dirty clinch and a potential takedown or two with some top control really bodes well to grind this one out. I'm gonna have a full unit on this one.
Love it. I love the science. It's one I'm staying away from, but you know I'm not backing a woman's favorite in 2022.
Right. You might not be backing any women at all in 2022. But I think that was more off it earlier in the year.
Next fight on the prelim card is another one that we kind of teased for the ankle lock. We kind of agreed Kennedy and Chukwu as the slight favorite over Nikolai Muranu. Minus 135 and Chukwu is the best line I could find this morning.
Yeah, that's a damn good line there, Country Club. I'm not going to lie.
And I don't think it's moved at all. I'm sitting at 135 moved reported. And it's just an interesting stylistic matchup. Reese and I usually like to back a wrestler versus striker almost always. But just the physical difference in between these guys, the height and reach is going to make it hard for Muranu to really get in on the hips and get any sort of takedown unless he traps him against the fence. I don't see being super likely.
Yeah, and not only that, but you're looking at a guy in Chukwu or Zekachu who is so tall that it's really hard to finally secure that takedown, even if you have your hands gripped for a double leg or even a single leg. And his takedown defense has proven that it can run the test. But what's so impressive here is stylistically, he throws a great straight left, and although he's not super quick, Muranu is there to be hit. He's going to walk forward. He doesn't keep a high guard, unlike in Zekachu. And I actually want to play this one. I talked myself into it. Not for a whole bunch, because I still think these guys are both raw enough in their MMA career where anything can happen, But I think that this is a pretty good spot, and I'm a guy who fades Kennedy, so this is a interesting play for me. This one's one I wouldn't expect me to be on.
Keeping it moving, we got another women's strawweight bout. Marina Rodriguez, a big favorite over Yan Xiaonan. Marina Rodriguez, really a favorite up the pod.
Really quickly though, wait, Dan, are you on Kennedy or are you?
I am also on Kennedy.
Yeah.
2 units at minus 135. I like that.
I actually like. All right, I'm actually going to tail you. I'll do 2 units as well. Then let's get it. Because I need a green week, and you're green every week, so that's got.
It's scary. I mean, I was telling my dad this morning. I've been being really disciplined, keeping my play small to where I really think that there's spots and where I really think that there's value. And man, I see value all over this card. So I hope it moves fucking well.
This is a sexy card. I feel it.
We started to hit on Marina Rodriguez, big favorite over Yan Xiaonan. One of the best women's strawweight up and comers. This is a
like I just said, I'm not taking any favorites in women's MMA. MMA this year, also as I brought up on the pod, as much as I respect Marina Rodriguez and her striking, I think she actually is probably the technically best women's MMA striker on the roster. She hasn't faced any other really great technical strikers. And so I'm interested to see how this matchup goes, just to see if she is what I think she is. And I think she is, but I don't like the 250.
Yeah, the line's expensive. I think the one takeaway here, though, is going to be the power difference, and I think it's going to be shown. Does she get the finish? I don't know. But I do think that there's a significant power difference that could come into play here. The only way I'm playing this, though, Dan, is a potential parlay. I crafted up a little something last night, and she is going to be a one leg of it, but no straight action for me.
Makes sense. Staying away.
Jalen Turner, slight favorite over Jamie Mullarkey. This is the last prelim event. We have Jalen Turner best line combined with minus 145. You guys kind of lean down that this is a tough one to find a lean on the pod this week. Anything changed there?
Nothing has changed for me in terms of not playing it, but I really am starting to like this Jalen Turner side a lot more. As good as Mullarkey is, and as I guess hard-headed he is with the way that he approaches fights and wants to make them scrappy and wants to really drag you into deep waters. Uros Medic was that same kind of guy and was supposed to come and just walk through Jalen Turner, and Jalen Turner was like, nah, I'm just a better grappler than you could ever hope to be, and it impressed me.
No, but do you think there's a spot here? Because I went back and forth all week on it.
I don't have a spot. I'm not playing it, but I do think I'm excited to see Jalen Turner against the grappler, and not the guy that it makes sense to grapple.
That's where I'm at, and he poses such an interesting problem because of his size and reach for this weight. I mean, when you see the man, you're like, there's no way that dude's 155. He's humongous, and he has muscle tone, and he's lengthy, and it's crazy. But he's definitely one of those guys who I think could be a real contender in a couple of years.
On the main card, 9 p.m. Central pay-per-view. First fight on the main card, Sergey Spivak is a favorite over Greg Hardy, minus 178. Dan kind of liked the under, teased it a little bit. Reese actually leaned Hardy, which is a unique spot for him to be. Reese, explain the Hardy first.
Yeah, I just think people don't really realize how ginormous this man is. I mean, he is 6'5", 295, cutting to 265. And although he's still raw in the game, he has underratedly a lot of UFC experience. And he spends his entire life in the gym, like a maniac. And when you're fighting a guy, although he's a lifelong mixed martial artist, when one guy walks around at 295 and the other guy walks around at 235, I just think it's really tough for him to implement any sort of grappling game. Okay, so then we're talking about straight stand-up. And I would be hard-pressed to think that Spivak will get the better of Hardy on the feet. Hardy's really improved in his striking. He has crazy power. I just think Hardy at the dog value here is an easier play than I initially thought.
I like the dog value. The reason I'm so high on the under, and what's happening live here while I'm typing away on my Bet MMA tip site, I'm actually adding a unit to the under here. I love it so much. Exactly what Reese said about the Greg Hardy side, but then you also got Spivak, who's an ADCC quarterfinalist, I think. I think an easy sub could happen as well in a round or two. And under 2.5, having a 1 in front of it for heavyweights, man, that feels like a gift. I'm taking it for 3. I've had it written down for 2 units, but that's getting the increase. I like this play a lot.
Next fight up the card, Kevin Holland, minus 325. That's kind of the best you can get now over Cowboy Oliveira. Danny and I were jumping on Holland early a couple weeks ago when we did set the spread. That was closer to minus 250. But we talked about this is still a playable number for Holland, especially in a parlay or something. Holland struggled at 185. This is fighting at 170. It's his UFC debut at 170, so that's we think advantage Holland.
Especially after what we saw yesterday with the weigh-ins. I think it was his coach tweeted out even before I was awake that Holland had already made the weight, and like he had to wait another hour until he could actually weigh in. It was chilling at 170, just feeling fine. Ended up being the first guy on the scale. Looked great. And that was the biggest question mark with this move to 170 is how would the weight cut affect his chin? How would it affect his speed? How would it affect just kind of all the athleticism? And I'm really confident that he's going to be able to rehydrate and be a big dude in there when he's facing a wiped out Cowboy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this fight 5 years ago is a lot of is a different element, but we're just seeing two guys in two different aspects of their career. And if Kevin Holland takes this sport seriously, I mean, you find him goofing around and talking from the bottom and talking to people out of the cage, and it's almost like he's scared to look like he's gonna lose trying. You know what I mean? Once he gets into water, he starts being kind of a little bit of a clown or a jokester. Making that weight, Dan, is a good sign. It shows that he's dedicated to this, and I think it's going to be a rude awakening for Cowboy here. I also want to tip my cap to you because you pounced on this at Set the Spread at -200, like almost instantaneously, and you got, I mean, 200 points in closing line value. So I wanted to recognize that. That's phenomenal capping right there.
That's why we're doing the Set the Spreads early. We're trying to get our listeners some value.
Bryce Mitchell, Edson Barboza, one of the few spots that we had some disagreement between you two. Reese, why don't you start?
I still like Bryce, but I see Dan's point of view when we talked about it, and I'm no longer gonna officially play it. It's the -145, which is the sweet spot, but it's more -160 across the board.
Yesterday, it did some craziness. We were sitting at dinner, and I was just checking some line movement. I placed it at 162.
Edson
got
plus 162 for Edson.
You're shitting on closing line value. It's remarkable. But Bryce Mitchell with the juice, I'm not going to play this one. I do think that if it's -110 each way, Bryce Mitchell's going to win. I do feel that way. But, you know, Edson's still extremely dangerous. He's still dedicated. He's cutting down to 145, and he certainly doesn't have to.
If Bryce can't land a takedown late in this fight, it's going to get ugly for him.
It could. We saw what happened to Hooker when you're stuck on your feet in front of Edson Barboza and you're tired.
We saw what happened to even Shane Burgos, who's just a way better striker than Bryce Mitchell is.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It could get ugly fast. So I'm laying off the juice, but I don't think Edson's a play at the +140. At +160, man, I would hop on that now. But if you're getting +140, +130, it's close. It's close. I think this is more just enjoy the fight, you know.
RDA and Hinata Moicano, who stepped in on short notice. RDA you can find at -160 this morning. This is a 5-round fight because it was supposed to be a 5-round fight when it was the main event of last week's card before Viziev obviously pulled out due to COVID. Kind of both agreed that there's just a lot stacked up against Moicano this week.
Yeah, it's in the 5-round aspect of it really is what sets me over the edge. Like I said on the main episode, we've got one guy who's been in training camp fighting or training for a 5-round, 25-minute fight. The other guy's been on 30 hours of flights in the last 3 days, has been eating himself to whatever since he's celebrating. He's mentally just in a different spot than RDA, having been at the end of a long fight camp. And I don't see anywhere where Moicano's going to pose trouble.
No, I really do echo the same thing. I weirdly even kind of like RDA by KO/TKO. I mean, I don't believe he's going to get a sub off on Moicano, and Moicano's proven to be chinny before, and I think RDA could get this done in the distance or by KO/TKO as well.
Over on 5 dimes, it's sitting at 165. That's still a great number.
Yeah. So, is this our ankle lock? Is this what we're submitting to the game?
I'm interested.
We can finalize it. We can go through the card one more time and figure it out, but I'm also interested. I'm all over RDA here. Main event. Bad blood between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. One of the worst pressers I've ever seen. I hated it. Both agreed the skill level is totally different. Colby, kind of part of parlays for both of you guys, and you guys both actually like the over 3.5.
Yeah.
That all standing true?
Yeah, I think that we're going to be impressed by Jorge's takedown defense early in this fight. I mentioned that he's brought in some really, really, really legit wrestlers. Bo Nickel being one of them. The Hodge Award winner from, I think, last season. Hodge Award is like the Heisman for wrestling in college. And so I do think he's going to impress us early in this fight. I just think that you look at the pace and the cardio that Colby has, and it's just different.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's pretty much going to be exactly what we've all thought it was going to be the whole way. I think Colby Covington can be a grinder, and I think Jorge Masvidal can be a really tough guy to get out of there. Over 3.5 is a good slice. Over 4.5, I think, is even a play. So this one has multiple spots. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a spot on either of these guys straight unless you're parlaying.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the prospect of playing Colby with minus 300. He's got the potential to get emotional in there and really get his head knocked off. So yeah.
All right, let's rapid fire our way through the card one more time with just plays and leave it at that. Curtain Jerker, Jacoby, Lexichuk.
So Jacoby, go ahead.
3x minus 180 on Dustin Jacoby.
I'm going to go risk 2, Dustin Jacoby, by minus 180 or whatever the line is.
Devontae Smith, minus 142 over the double climb.
I've got a place from earlier in the week, lost some value here. I've got Smith minus 155.
Okay. I'm probably going to lay off this one.
Tim Elliott, Tagir Ulanbekov.
I've got over 2.5 at minus 160 for 2 units.
Oh yeah, okay. I got 1 unit Tim Elliott plus 195.
Umar and Brian Kelleher.
Umar inside the distance plus 150.
I love that. Nothing for me.
Agapova Moroz.
Get up and get yourself a beer.
Moroz plus 160, I think I'm going to get it at. And I'm going to do a full uni on that guy as well.
And Chaku Nagumuranu.
2 units on Kennedy, minus 135.
2 units, Kennedy, minus 140.
Rodriguez, Xiaonan.
Pass for me.
I have her in a parlay. I'll say the whole parlay at the end.
Jalen Turner, Jamie Malarkey.
Another pass.
Great fight, but no play.
Spivak and Greg Hardy.
Under 2.5 for 3 units at minus 170. These are big boys with some prowess and knockout power. Let's get a finish. Come on.
I love that play.
It's a big boy swinging. Give me a finish.
I think I'm gonna go with nothing here. I don't think I'm gonna officially play Hardy.
Like a Hardy round 1 KO.
Maybe a sprinkle. Maybe a sprinkle round 1 KO.
Kevin Holland, Cowboy Oliveira.
Heavy on Holland.
Yeah, Holland for the win.
Bryce Mitchell and Edson.
I've got Edson at the gift line of plus 162.
1 unit?
2 units.
Oh, that's a nice play there. I got nothing here. I'm laying off. I think I like Bryce though, Dan. So unfortunately, your closing line value might not be enough.
RDA and Hanata Moicano.
RDA minus 160, 3x place, and probably going to place the 165 ankle lock when we get off.
I think it is an ankle lock because I'm gonna have 3 units RDA as well. So this sounds like an ankle lock, just meant to be.
All right, I'll get it placed as we talk.
That solves one answer for us. Last fight, main event, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal.
I've got the over 3.5 at minus 170 for 2x, and I've got a Colby Umar parlay that pays just a little under minus 200 for 3x.
Okay, wait, Colby Umar, that's interesting. I'm actually laying off this one. I don't think I'm gonna do the over. I think I'm gonna place out.
Reese, what's your parlay that you've still been working on here?
So the parlay is a combination of the 4 people that I just really don't see losing here. And honestly, you can add Umar if you want to. But I got Colby Covington, Kevin Holland, Marina Rodriguez, and I think I'm not sure if I'm not going to add RDA just because I have enough on him straight. But that parlay right there, Colby Covington, Holland, Marina Rodriguez pays plus 142. If you add Umar plus 172, I don't want it, but that's a spot. But yeah, I think those three are going to be the ones looking back on this card that make a nice statement for themselves. So plus 142 on three winners, I'm a fan.
We're just over our 30-minute time, but anything else? It sounds like we're finalizing RDA as ankle lock. That's been green as ever. Anything else to add here?
Let's have another green card. It's fucking fight night, and I am psyched.
I'm just happy to be here, baby. 10 a.m. up. I'm feeling virile. Happy to be here, boys. Let's go.
Oh, wow.